Words matter. Professor Poutine here, time for Mysteries Histories. It's often said that history is written by the victors. I think a better way to phrase that is that the victors get to choose the words that describe historical events and therefore control the narrative. Take, for instance, what happened at Wounded Knee in 1890. So the South Dakota governor, for some context, wanted to remove a bunch of indigenous peoples off of their lands because they had found minerals there that were valuable. And so he asked the U.S. Army to come in, disarm the indigenous peoples, and move them to a federal prison. Well, the U.S. Army sent the 7th Cavalry to do this job, who had famously been disastrously destroyed years earlier at the Battle of Little Bighorn. General Custer was killed and so on. And some historians have argued that maybe the reason this turned into a bloodbath was because the 7th Cavalry was trying to avenge or atone for that catastrophic defeat they suffered at the hands of the indigenous. In any event, as the Miniconjou were being disarmed, a gun went off, which spooked the 7th Cavalry, and they immediately began to indiscriminately fire into the reserve, including firing in heavy artillery at 2 rounds a minute, racing through the reserve on horseback with sabers, slashing at anybody they could find. And by the time the smoke cleared, there was between 250 and 300 indigenous dead, mostly women and children. 25 U.S. soldiers were killed, probably due to friendly fire since the Miniconjou had been disarmed. The bodies lay rotting in the sun for the next few weeks until they were buried naked in a mass grave on Cemetery Hill. And since that time, the U.S. government has consistently called that the Battle at Wounded Knee, even going so far as to give 20 U.S. soldiers the Medal of Honor for their role, an honor that was recently reconfirmed by Pete Hegseth. There was a bill in 2019 that was put forward to strip those soldiers of their Medal of Honor. Hegseth said, no, they were American soldiers, American patriots defending the American frontier. They keep their medals. Why are we talking about this today? Why does this matter? This coming weekend, as many of you know, is the second No Kings protest in the United States. And the MAGA wing of the Republican Party is desperately trying to rebrand this the, quote, Hate America rally, end quote, some sort of George Soros, Antifa, Hamas terroristic activity designed to destroy American democracy, when in fact it's the epitome of what American democracy should be. It's the right to peaceably protest. It's the right to peaceably assemble. It's the right to freedom of speech. But the government is desperately trying to change the narrative by changing the words they're using. Share this video with anybody that needs to realize that this is not a weekend to defy America. This is a weekend to redefine America as a democracy. You don't live in a dictatorship. You don't live in an authoritarian regime. You live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Words matter. Get out there and rally. Consider yourself updated.